ResortLoop.com is proud to be sponsored by Joffrey's Coffee and Tea Company. Joffrey's now offers coffee subscriptions. You can order a 3, 6, or 12-month subscription. You can choose from 3 collections: the Flavored Coffee Collection, the Roastmasters Collection, or the Disney Signature Coffee Collection. Each collection includes 3 bags per month. With the Joffrey's Coffee subscriptions, never run out of great coffee again. Learn more and order at Joffreys.com.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
For those of you who have joined us at the Polynesian Village Resort Hotel, aloha, and welcome aboard the Walt Disney World local monorail system. During the trip, we request that everyone please remain seated, and that there please be no eating, drinking, or smoking. Thank you. Our next stop is the Magic Kingdom.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining us. I'm Tim Scott. This is ResortLoop.com, the gateway to the magic. This is our special DV show. I almost said TV show, but it's a DVC show. Joining us on the show, before we introduce the guests, which is actually going international today, is Miss Rebecca Toon.
Hello, hello, hello. Happy day after St. Patrick's Day.
Right back at you.
Yes.
Mr. Brad Coates.
Greetings, everybody.
I don't know what he said.
Creepy at all.
Greetings.
Creepy with the partner statue behind you is just a little weird.
Hi, everybody.
And then the original Super Looper, Mr. Joe Quattrochi.
Tim, what's going on, brother? How you doing tonight?
What is going on? Emily Hansa Hicks hopes to join us later. She's saving the world one board meeting at a time.
Legal brief at a time.
Right. But join us on the show. Our guests are from Mexico City, which strangely enough is in Mexico, so we're going international today. Join us as Rafael and Andrea Lors. Guys, thanks for joining us on the show.
Bye.
So you guys,
We're all waving it like this is an audio show.
that's right.
Right?
I'm sort of just back to there. Okay.
Maybe the video was a bad idea, guys.
Would you prefer we do sign language, Joe?
I'm sorry, Tim.
No, we're fine. All right. So guys, you're considering buying DVC. Tell us your full Disney story. Like, why are you thinking DVC, and how'd you get together that whole thing?
Okay, I'll get started. So I've been going to Disney World with my family for a long time now, since I can remember. I remember that my grandparents would take 2 or 3 grandsons like every year. So I pretty much lived with Disney throughout my life. But there was like something missing, if that makes sense. And we started going out together about 11 years
11 years ago, yeah.
11 years ago now. And we managed to scrape up the money and get everything ready. And we did a trip together in 2019. And that's the moment that it really hit. Like at that moment, we became like really real like Disney fans. She had gone with me and my family like 7 or 8 years before that. But there was just something about us going together for the first time that we just made it like the 7 most magical days in our entire lives.
It was amazing.
It was so amazing that we were on our last day on Magic Kingdom and we heard about the bounce back offer. And while we were in line to get lunch, I was on the phone to get the bounce back offer and planned our trip for next year.
Attaboy.
Yeah, it was really out there. Like, what are we gonna do next year? And I was like, well, we're here right now. And he was like, no. We're planning what we're doing next year.
That's what you do.
So something funny happened that she told me that I told her that it was going to be even more magical than the first time we went. And she told me, like, jokingly, what, are you going to take me twice to Disney? And lo and behold, my family decided that they wanted to go to the Bahamas. And my dad said, hey, what about if we do a small trip to Disney before that? So I called her back and I told her, yeah, I'm taking you to Disney twice next year. And everything. happened, and well, we all know the rest of the story.
And here
Just
we go.
racking up points there, Rob. Racking up points. Attaboy.
Yeah, and so we had a reservation for June of last year, as well as another reservation for September of last year. The June to December, and the September one, we moved it to January. So we're just moving the dates right now, and Disney's holding on to the money from those reservations. So that's pretty much the story. And we've just become absolute fans, reading everything we can on Disney, watching all the podcasts we can, all the videos, ride-throughs. We buy every single book we come across with. We just started not remodeling, like getting an apartment together. And we've made our small Disney shrine in which we're just going to fill it out with toys, pictures, books, everything we can get our hands on. So that's our story.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. We came across DVC curiously, like in the park. We were around Tomorrowland, and we were approached magically by some cast member. It's about, wouldn't it be amazing if you would have Disney vacations for every year for the next 50 years? And I was like, oh, you have my attention now, miss. I'm making tally marks, and then the next trip together will be many times on the same year. That would be better. Can we do that? And the guy was like, yeah, absolutely. We can do that. And I was like, okay, tell me about it. and that's how we got into it. We started making a little bit more of research about the DVC. But we have a lot of questions because we don't know if it is the right fit for us, because we are only two and we are not planning to be more than two. So that's one of the big things that we are like thinking about. And yeah, we actually have a list of questions for you guys so maybe we can get like closer to the answer if it is a good fit for us or not.
So I will say this: it's Andrea, right, or Andrea? Andrea.
Andrea, but if Andy is easier for you.
Oh, that's so cute.
Well, I just want to make sure I say it right, But I will say this: my wife and I are just two, and it's no more. So that is not an excuse. So that one's eliminated right there. So, I will be your guinea pig for yes.
Well, and the other reason,
big kids, if you haven't caught on yet. Everybody on this podcast, we're just big kids.
True.
That's okay.
Yeah, and the other reason we really are considering DVC is that we really wanted to make it like a tradition for us to try to go every year, because of the plan we did in 2019. That it really was a great plan, and we got the free dining plan, and we got a free upgrade, and everything was like pretty, like we got a lot of value for what we paid. That we were thinking that, hey, I don't know if we can do it even cheaper.
Yeah, and the thing with Disney that we like the most, I think, is that everything is so planned out that you have like really seamless or really smooth vacations. Like you don't have to worry about anything at all. If you don't want to carry money to the parks, if you don't want to go, like you don't even have to worry about how I am going like to different places. I just take a bus. Like everything is so thought of that it makes it so easy. And I think they were very relaxing vacations because you don't have to be planning or thinking about anything else but having fun. So I think that's what called us a lot about it. I'm gonna check on that.
Okay.
I absolutely agree. That is one of the things I've always valued about Disney is that seamlessness. I think I traveled early, but then I became a single mom, and that was our first vacation as me and my two children was Disney because of that very reason. I didn't have to worry about driving. I didn't have to worry about transportation or like it was such a seamless vacation for them, and I felt safe. And so I totally hear what you're saying there. And I think that's such a good sort of acknowledgement of what Disney does so well.
And there's just something about going there and you feel in completely another world, because I love traveling to the US because you always feel safe. But when you get to
Disney, hear that. that.
Your cup, Brad. It's a Club 33 cup. It's amazing.
Oh, look at that.
Sorry, we have to talk about it.
I'm so sorry about that.
Starting. We're gonna have to make. Yeah, come on. This is a good one too.
So, guys,
I luck out and have a friend.
So when you the 2 trips that you had planned in the same year, can you tell us a little bit about what those trips looked like? Where were you planning on staying?
Okay. So just as a bit of background, on the 2019 trip, I don't want to brag, but we got like the best price you could ever
Deal.
imagine.
Yeah.
And we brag all the time. Feel free.
The whole trip, which was 6 days. 6 days?
5
6
days.
days. 6 days.
Yeah, 6 days.
6 days, 4 nights at Pop Century with free dining plan and with the tickets and with Memory Maker. And the total was, and Park Hopper. And in the total for that was $1,500.
What resort?
Pop
Pop
Century.
Century,
Oh, Pop Century. Yeah. Okay. And it was a
And that was
4-day
for
ticket
me.
or a 5-day ticket?
4 days.
4-day ticket.
And we managed to get our airplane tickets for, I think it was like $200 or $300. Yeah, like $300
Yeah.
round trip. So
Nice. That was a great trip. That was a great
Yes.
deal.
Yes, but it actually took a lot of time because we had to do everything like a little bit more of a year in advance. So we had to like check with all the airplanes, the hotel, everything. Like we have found that the best strategy, at least for us, and with these 2 trips, is as far in advance as you can make the reservation, the better.
Well, if you're thinking about going far in advance, you'll love DVC because when your 11-month window open up, you'll be right on it if you don't have a problem doing that. So that's already a positive there. And I'm sure when we get into your questions, I'm sure that'll probably pop up with the booking direct versus booking DVC. But
yeah, because for that trip we really went in advance, and I was staying at that moment. I was with my sister in Vancouver. And it was like, I don't know, 4 o'clock in the morning or something like that. She called me and she was like, "There's free dining plan right now." So there I was, 4 in the morning, calling Disney.
I got it. I have jumped on that deal just like that. I'm a fan of free dining.
Definitely.
Yeah. I think Tim operates a travel company, travel agency. I actually work for another travel agency as a hobby, and but that's a great thing, Andrea. You could book it way in advance, and as long as you don't pay full yet, wait till the end to pay in full. You, if a discount comes out, you can always call Disney and say, "Can I move my room into that discount?" And if it's a better deal, you can move it. If it's not a better deal, leave it alone. But yeah, so it's never wrong to book early because you can always, well, not always, because sometimes you're in a resort that not counted in the discount. But yeah,
and you go back, so you're not always guaranteed it. To answer one of your questions, I noticed that on your list of questions, one of the questions was, if we're doing DVC points, can we also take advantage of free dining?
Yeah,
you can add the dining plan. But unless you're willing to pay cash for your room or rent out your points and use that cash to pay cash for your room, you wouldn't be able to use the free dining offer on DVC.
Okay.
So that's just a segue into sort of it, because there's a lot of questions and we want to try and get to as many.
We're going to have to make this a 2-parter.
We might.
Sure.
That I'm personally, I know Joe and Brad will have much more ownership answers, but from a renter perspective, that is something we found. And I was a huge free dining person, and that was something I found that I could not do was add the free dining in that promo. Now, a lot of that too is dependent upon when Disney comes back at full capacity. Will they even offer that moving forward?
Yeah, right.
I've experienced that they typically do that more for international guests than U.S. guests, but that may also change. So also just something to keep in mind.
Okay.
Yeah, totally.
Because we find a lot of value on the free dining plan because we really have a sweet tooth. So we really like to eat. And I can tell you right now that from that trip, we only had like a couple spare points.
Yes. Well, the thing about the planning that with so much time in advance was like, we're going to make we thought more about the restaurants we wanted to go, and then like shift our days and our parks like based on which restaurants we would like the best.
Yeah, everything revolved around.
Speak to my language. What park do I want to go to? No. What restaurant do I?
What restaurant is in this park? Yes. So that was actually a great decision, or like the best promotion we could get. The free dining plan, I think it worked a lot for us.
Even though we did dine at G-Co and Tokyo Dining and did some out-of-pocket restaurants, but either way, we found it to be like a great fit for us, and it was the quick service one.
Yes, and we ate so good.
So, and there's nothing to say you can't, if you're saving money by being DVC members, perhaps you've saved money on tickets. There's nothing to say that you can't add that on and still be getting a good value for your money. And there's also, I personally love the dining plan too, just because it's prepaid. So when I get there, there's not as much out of pocket for me.
Definitely.
Yes, and it's a way also to have a budget, because it's very easy to go there and ask for a lot of things, and everything is thought to be like appealing and super appealing. So you can go wild if you don't behave yourself. So the dining plan was also a way of no more snacking today, because we will have snacks in the future.
All right, guys, why don't we start on your question list? Because we got a lot of things here we want to get through and give you. Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. So the first one, the most important one, is if there are any kind of barriers for non-American citizens that live in the country, because I, for one, haven't been able to find any DVC owners from my country. So that's like one of the things, like it's a barrier because we cannot drive down there, or we cannot get a regional flight down there. That's the part in which we need to see if there's really a lot of value on that side.
So I will say, at least in the state of Florida in the U.S., foreign nationals are allowed to own property here in the U.S. Okay. Also in the state of Florida, we call them snowbirds. There are many Canadians that come down from Canada that own property here in the state of Florida. So your DVC is considered a real estate transaction. Your deed will be filed with Orange County, Florida. So you will technically own property in the U.S. But as far as I know, and we always say defer these to your broker whenever you do this, but as far as I know, you can own DVC. I've done some research before this, and I don't see anything that says that a foreign national cannot own Disney Vacation Club, because there are foreign nationals who own property in the U.S. So, Tim, I mean, we always said would defer to the brokers, but as far as we know, I can't find this as you can't.
And I can personally have UK friends. I don't have friends in Mexico, but I do have friends in the UK that own DVC and have for years. And I'll defer to Brad and Joe, but I know there's certain tax things that you have to pay attention to and those things. But and that's where a broker or an accountant comes in handy. But I do have friends from the UK that own DVC. They own Grand Floridian.
And I don't know if you, as a Mexican, citizen, have to report your foreign property ownership to your government yearly. That's for you.
Question.
I mean, I don't know if you do or not. I don't know, but I mean, you will pay U.S. taxes, and you'll pay Florida tax on the thing, which is it's like anything else. Like I own a timeshare in Aruba. It is. I pay tax to the country of Aruba, so.
But the taxes are paid in your dues. You're not going to
correct.
tax bill. But there, you are paid. I will mention, I did some research on that, and I did find multiple locations where people in Mexico do DVC. So I can, at least they were, unless there's been some change. And I did notice with one question farther down, and like we said, when it comes to taxes, when it comes to special documentation, your best thing is, if you go through a resale market or you go direct, they're the ones that deal with their customers who've done it. We haven't. But I did find a little bit of information on the last one was payment methods. And the ones that were talking about buying in Mexico said they were able to, just like we can, when you first purchase the contract, you put down a down payment. And the down payment, they will allow you to use a credit card, or they were allowing you. So you could use a credit card. People from Mexico were able to use their credit card. But then when you pay for the contract, then you'd have to, the easiest way is a bank transfer.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the simplest way. But outside of that,
you pay your dues with a credit card?
Yes.
yes.
That's a great way to earn some airline miles.
Yeah.
I do it every year.
So whether you're going directly from Disney or an actual, resale broker, they should be able to steer you the right way as to all the actual regulations and everything. But I think people are doing it all the time, so I think you won't have any hurdles doing that.
Awesome.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
Okay. So the most important question now.
Ooh.
Does this make sense for only us two thinking about going once a year or maybe every 2 years?
Yes.
And you'll go more.
Yes, because
and you'll go more. You won't think so, but you will.
Listen, I'm just going to say yes for the reason why, not even numbers wise. It's just me and my wife. We're in the same position as you guys. You said it's just going to be the two of you. That's great. Jen and I, it's just the two of us. You guys have the bug like we all do. And it's fairly new for you. So, I mean, it was just really exciting to watch. If you're going to go even if it's every 2 years, you're going to have banked points. It's going to be fine. As long as you're not planning on going every 5 or 6 years or 7 years, then it's not going to be worth it. But if you're going to go every year or two, absolutely. I mean, if you can afford it, just the time wise, I think you will have no problems justifying your vacation to Walt Disney World. I'm just telling you right now. I'm in that boat right now. And even if Jen and I go once or twice a year, I mean, we're already talking about going back to Alani. I mean, like, because we're down the street right now, so it's like we go a lot. We're already talking about booking our Alani trip at our DVC. So it's like there's always something that you could find a place to use your points at. Even if you don't go to Disney, well, maybe we want to go to Alani this year. We want to go to Hawaii. So you never know. But I will say, yes, if it's just the two of you, don't let your family size dictate if you're going to buy DVC or not. No.
And maybe you'll make friends and want to bring family.
Oh, you'll make friends.
Yeah, that's true.
And they'll want to go.
Get you guys.
You have 4 others right here right now.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna be your friend. Hey, and I can kind of go from the other side, you guys. We bought into DVC 2006, and it was because of our kids. And I wasn't a Disney guy, but we went to Disney I was forced by my mother-in-law to make a family trip. She has cost me my retirement. Because you said
got no hair left.
Yeah, it's gone. We've done my youngest that was 4.5 months old in Minnie's arms. That trip is now 21. Last week we took her first trip for this year. She's done something Disney at least once every year of her life. So we've gotten our money's worth out of it. But here's the thing. They're in college. One of them's married. They're moving on, and they were kind of nudging the other day, going, "Well, when are you gonna, let us inherit the points?" And I said, "When we're done with them." And they're like, "Can't we still go on the family trips?" I said, "No." Well, why would we have grandkids? I said, "They can go." Not paying for you guys anymore.
2 words: cash room, right, Brian?
You can book your own. You're big girls now. So anyway, so I'm in Joe's shoes now. It's like, hey, I'm looking forward to planning just us trips. And the more you do it, there's still stuff new after all these years. There's something new every time we go. I went this trip. We did brand new stuff we'd never done before.
The two of you guys are going to discover things that if you go all the time, you might get tired of, believe it or not, of going to the parks. You're going to find other things to do. You're going to golf. You're going to spas. You're going to do the boating, dinners. I mean, there's all kinds of other things to do in Orlando. Believe it or not, you can leave the bubble and do other things and still utilize your DVC. You will find so many other things to do. And that's why it's the quote unquote vacation kingdom of the world, because it's like there's so many things that, like, besides going on an attraction, that you could do. I mean, so you guys definitely won't run out of things.
I never considered DVC until I was an empty nester. Like, my kids stayed at Pop Century because that's what my kids like. And of course, now they tease me. They're like, "Oh, now you've got DVC money?" And I'm like,
wait, I'm sorry, Pop what?
Oh,
Emily Hansa Hicks just joined us, everybody.
Somebody snuck in. Jim forgot to close the door.
I definitely don't.
We love Emily.
We do.
Two of you, that is definitely not a drawback. You think bigger, you think grander, you think more value for your money. I definitely, if there's anything that is a doubt in my mind, it's definitely not that.
Okay.
Okay.
So here's the second part to that question. Thinking about the trip that we just made and how much it costs, if we plan to do that kind of trip, like around that figure, $1,800, maybe like $2,200, would it still make sense if that's what we're like thinking about paying every time we go?
Well, it's also going to depend, like, are you going to get that same deal every time?
There you go.
Also, you're going to have better accommodations.
Crazy
so
good
you're getting that like a
accommodations.
super value. I call Papa super value, right? I mean, it's value, but it's the prices aren't always value. You're going to be at a higher level resort. You're going to have more amenities. You're going to get certain discounts. We know that the discounts do go away sometimes, but like the biggest ones are on your tickets and your annual passes and stuff. The prices keep going up.
Yeah,
I mean, they still do. So I mean, like I'm locked in. I have my 180 points. Like I just pay my dues that go up. You know what I'm saying? But like my point values aren't changing. So that's the one thing. Yeah, you might be paying that amount now, but like you might not pay that amount like in 2 years or 3 years. You know, when everything Guardians opens up, when Ratatouille's open up this year, Tron's open up. Oh my God, we got all these people like coming. We're packed. You know, we're reducing capacity. This and that. They're gonna raise the prices of the rooms, and there you go. You're not going to see that level of price anymore. So you can't bank on that. So I think that having that kind of view on it might be, you know, you could set yourself a budget. You know what I'm saying, for like spending money and stuff. But I know for like even for dues, right? I pay $1,100 a year in dues. It's already below your threshold of what you're looking at. And I could stay at, you know, a deluxe resort for probably 10 or 12 nights, actually even more if I go off season. So I think you're already seeing value there already.
I remember the first time I stayed at Pop Century, it was $49 a night.
Yes.
I just pulled up Pop Century. So, because that's your value. Right now, Pop Century, 5 days, 6 nights, 4-day ticket, park hopper, $2,176. So you may get the good deals, but you may not. And I did run some basic numbers to give you an idea, because that's one of the questions that comes up later. But to give you kind of an idea, if you did buy at Animal Kingdom, you could do a 5-night stay as low as the value rooms are like 7 points some nights and 10 others. That'd be about $280 you'd pay for your room for 5 nights.
That's so good.
Yeah. So, and even if you said, well, we don't want to stay at value. We want a savannah. We want to see the animals. Well, the reasonable price is 65 points for 5 nights. Can go up to like mid-range, about 90 points. Well, the 90 point, which is the middle cost, is, you know, that's some of the, you know, middle best times to go, $720. So by the time you add your tickets to that, you're staying at Animal Kingdom with a Savannah view instead of Pop Century. Listen, I like Pop Century, but they don't compare.
Yeah, I know, right?
That's what it comes down to. If you want deluxe, that's what we did, because we were value people. Every trip I took, I had to do everything discount. When we were staying at Paradise Pier in Disneyland, and we thought we died and gone to heaven. As long as you're around, you realize that's not a big thing. But to us, the first Disney.
Thank you. Like,
yeah, but yeah, so
good. Like the beds are super comfy. Like for basic needs, it's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have a good time, you have a great sleep, everything is great. Like, but Animal Kingdom Lodge, like, are the beds comfier? Or I mean, the Savannah view, you can beat that. I get it. Like, there's no way you can beat that. But the the improvement on the room and the improvement of the experience is like really worth it. The price jump.
Yeah.
I think so. So I'm so sorry. I'm late to the party, and I don't even know if you have kids or if you
drinking Hansa.
right. I didn't wait for that.
Yeah.
It's just
the two of you.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I would say, so I'm coming from the perspective of a person with like a whole horde, but we really like the space in the rooms, you know, and that feeling that you have the little kitchenette. So especially if you're budget conscious, which we are, believe it or not. Despite our Grand Floridian, we have champagne dreams and ESPN beer. budget. Yeah, but we saved when our kids were little. We saved so much money, and I mean, this has nothing to do with our children, but you can save so much money just making food in the microwave. So if you're, and then you can go, if you eat your breakfast in your studio and you eat your lunch in your studio, and it's something healthy that you actually like to eat, then you get to sort of graze for the inexpensive, or maybe expensive, but not as expensive as all the sit down meals. All the snacks around Epcot, all the snacks, you can just really indulge in like less expensive treats the whole time. So I would say the room, and I do think the accommodations are generally nicer and larger than your average hotel room. I don't know. Would you guys agree? The people that stay in studios.
I definitely
agree.
Especially.
And you also have a balcony, like the majority of DVCs, I think all of them have, well, I guess except like the tower suites and stuff, but the majority of them have balconies. So if that's important to you, I know Jen, I like this. Yeah. Also, I want to say one other thing. I was kind of thinking about this too. I'm not a financial person, but it also depends on, you want to go back to price, what the exchange rate is. So I know like the one Mexican peso to US dollars, like I think it's like 5 cents right now. So I don't know if that's strong or not. I don't know, but like also paying cash, if you're going to have an exchange rate, that's also going to feed into your deal as well. So
strategically buy.
Apply to their deal, whether they're going on cash or they're paying for their dues. So that's going to be. But I wanted to, Ralph and Andrea, I love what you're saying because you're sounding just like I was when I first got into DVC. And trust me, I am the king of squeezing the blood right out of every point. We've got the split stay in the studio 3 days, then move to the one bedroom, then cook in the kitchen every meal, then have the washer and dryer. There's ways to do this. But let me point something else out to you. From the beginning, when you started talking, I think everybody on the table could shake their head and say, "Yeah, you sound like you want magical experiences."
Yeah,
and this Pop Century is a great experience because you're still going to get experience Disney World. But comparing Pop Century to when I bought at Animal Kingdom, and I love Animal Kingdom, and let me tell you one of the main reasons why I bought. The first time I walked into that resort, I was in Africa. It was a different world. Yeah. So
my mind was blown in the moment I walked the lobby of that hotel. I was like, oh my God, this is the most beautiful place I have ever been. And like, there are a lot of beautiful places, but that lobby has something in it.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It does.
And listen, the beds could have been bricks, and I probably still would have bought there. The beds are comfortable, but in the end, that's not the real value. The reason why it's more valuable is you, for around the same price, are going to get the champagne experience that Emily talked about instead of a very high grade beer experience.
And you guys look like a really nice
beer experience.
You guys look like you're a very good looking young couple. As you get older, you're going to love the better accommodations.
Oh, yeah.
You'll be like, I can't believe we once stayed at Pop and loved it so much.
Also, from a foodie perspective, because I heard you talk about the food with the so when Emily was saying you can make breakfast in your room, you can make lunch in your room, my idea, because we rented points at one point and bought the dining package, and my breakfast was my leftovers from the night before the big meal with the huge desserts. And I would just grab half of everything up and send it home with me. And you have a kitchenette and you can heat up your leftovers, and that is your breakfast, and it is wonderful, and it is the best way to use the dining plan.
The other nice thing is all the DVC properties have these nice little pantry kind of stores. And we used to always order groceries in. And we have since discovered that those DVC pantry type stores actually have like Stouffer's reheatable food. So we kind of stopped ordering tons of groceries because it was so much, it's pretty convenient to just go down and get I don't even think the upcharge is that much. So you can probably get a $3 or $4 thing of frozen macaroni and cheese. And
that's a good point because
Yeah,
because, dealing with clients, I'm sure Tim knows, you working with the ones that want groceries. When they have a bigger family, it makes more sense.
Mm-hmm.
Just the two of you, you're just not going to order enough food because there's surcharges, service charges for everything, Green Grocer and all those places you order from. We're kind of the same way when we go just two of us, right, Joe? It's just like if I need milk, I just go down and buy milk. It's
it's Publix down the street.
There you go.
Right.
What's the gas station down the road here?
And Joe doesn't drink milk.
Speedway.
I don't know if we established whether you guys, I don't know if you guys drink or not, but I will say Animal Kingdom Lodge has the best wine selection because it's all African wines. So when you go there, you can get some African wine at the gift shop.
Right? Are you in a gang, Rebecca? What's up?
Only in Italy.
That's right. But yeah, like you can have really amazing, when you have that feeling of being home, sort of, and you really will. That's the other magical thing where I don't know if you guys hit on, but there is a feeling of pride and ownership in those resorts that you will have that you will never get as a guest. You will walk into those doors and feel like you have a piece of this place, and part of it, you know, like you are. This is a little piece of that place is you, and vice versa. And I will tell you, they treat you like that too. Like the staff treats you like that. If you ever go on a Disney cruise, they have like all kinds of Disney Vacation Club stuff. They do try to really make you feel valuable as a member, I think, overall. And I think for example, my husband I think he really likes feeling that membership, and like he has some kind of ownership in the Disney magic bubble.
He just tells you that. He's just keeping you happy. He's outnumbered. No, but it is true. Like, I mean, you guys listened to the show before we started recording. You said, "Oh, it's great. You guys have listened to." Who loves Saratoga Springs more than me? But it's my home. That's my home.
There, Joe.
I know you do, but that's like my home resort, and like I have the sweatshirts and I've got the hats, and I'm love Saratoga Springs, and it's like, like Emily said, it's a little bit of pride. It's a little bit like that's my home resort, and I have certain buildings I like to stay in, and you know what? If everybody else likes to stay, like I don't like Animal Kingdom Lodge. It's not my deal. Brad does. That's there's a resort for everybody. So, but
and when
you see my
walk
grandchildren
into
in
that
robe
DVC resort and they look at you and say "Welcome home," you will feel at home. It's own. What? And you'll find the one that fits you though before. And that's another good point. If you're going to buy resale where you get a lot more option to buy the resort, do what you did, Andrea. Go to all of them. Walk around. Ask to see the rooms. They'll give you a tour. Find the resort you think that for your long-term Disney experience, because you can use your points to stay anywhere, but you want to buy where you're going to stay. You hear us say that all the time. Buy where you're going to stay, and make sure where you're going to stay you love.
Yes.
What question are we on, by the way?
we jumped. Tell us.
We're all over the place.
I'm trying to find where we're at right now.
We're letting Ralphie tell us what's most important.
Ralphie.
I think it's food, by the way.
It's the Grand Floridian bathrobe that I tried to show you guys on Skype.
There's nothing like eating in one of the restaurants at the DVC resorts and not having to ride a bus or a boat or a lift afterwards, just like floating up to your room with your leftovers.
It's true.
Yes. Like that's a really good feeling, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, because here's a funny story about that trip. The first park we went to was Animal Kingdom, and we made a reservation for Chico that night.
It was so good.
Yeah.
It is so good.
But the funny part about the story is that since we were like really on a budget, we didn't see what was the show?
Rivers of Light.
Rivers of Light. We didn't see
At Animal Kingdom.
ran away to get to our reservation, and we got there a bit early, so we had brought our change of clothes because
we had to freshen up for dinner.
Of course.
Really far away from our resort.
So
I could just
pretty much had hobo showers in the restaurants at Animal Kingdom Lodge.
So we're very sorry for that.
I just like her all the time, and Joe makes fun of me.
I'm making fun of you.
That is outstanding.
Awesome.
All right, guys, what other questions do you
What's
have?
on your list, Val?
Sure. Okay. Next one. Are 125 points enough?
No.
Never.
For your first purchase.
Yeah. For your first purchase, the only exception to that would be, guys, if you were genuinely saying to yourselves, we're only going to go every 2 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then you just have to learn the process. You bank. Now you have 250. You take your trip. Then the next year you bank and you got 250. You could do Animal Kingdom value.
It's tough to get, though, man.
Well, good luck. It's almost impossible to get, even if you own there. And I know I own there. And I've now stayed twice, and only because the pandemic was going on. It's only a value room. But so it's just not enough.
I would say this: if you're going to buy direct from Disney, okay, then I would hold off for a little bit unless you've got like a resale contract for 120 points. It's like a crazy good deal you want to jump on. Then you could do it. But if you are going to buy from Disney, maybe wait a year and like if it's a financial thing, save up a little bit of money and get a little bit more. We bought 150, Jen and I, and we got a really good deal through a resale. And we very quickly found out that 150 was not enough. We ended up buying a second contract for 30 points. It gives us like a nice buffer, and that's like a perfect amount of points because if we want to go during a higher time, we don't feel like, oh, we can't, we don't have enough points. Like it gives us a little bit of a buffer zone. So I think if you're finding an awesome contract and you want to jump on it, do it. But if you want to hold off, I would try to get a little bit more. But I think 120 is not, especially what you're looking at. It's not. Yeah, I don't think it's enough.
What 180 starting out only going every other year, so you would bank your year and then go. So you would essentially be working with banked points every year if you're only going. But then if you started going every year, I think you'd be point poor.
You would be.
You would be point poor, yeah.
But don't worry, you'll
coming
find
all the way
to sell.
from Mexico and staying 3 days at the resort. That ain't gonna fly.
That's gonna be frustrating for you guys because it's not like for us, like for Rebecca to hop on a 2-hour flight from Connecticut, it's not a big deal, or Emily from Ohio, or Tim from Ohio. It's like you guys are coming from a different country, so you got customs, immigration. It's like it's a little bit more involved than just than just coming down from like down on 95 on the East Coast. You know what I'm saying? So you will get frustrated by doing that, being like, you know what, we're doing all this, we don't have enough points, we should have bought more. So this is good you're thinking about these things. But yeah, I definitely don't think you're going to be satisfied with 120, especially that you can see it in your guys' eyes. You want the magic, you want the good experiences, and those points are going to run out very quickly.
Right. Back to what we've been said so many times on the show. Figure out what you can genuinely afford. Buy the most points you can for what you can really afford. So that this doesn't become a burden or a millstone around your neck.
No burdens.
Agreed.
No burdens.
It is a luxury purchase.
If it's 125 points, 150 points, you can still make this magical. There's ways. You just stay tuned into the Roundtable. We'll keep you in tune on how to do it.
You can do a split day. You can
get started.
25 and then go to Pop Century.
Yeah.
There are
That
options.
is true. You can supplement with hotel stays, like we all do, I think.
Yep. And never mind. I forgot my thought.
Oh, sorry.
You want to avoid that though. I mean, the thing is, after a couple of years, they're going to be like, if they're doing Animal Kingdom Savannah View, listen, no disrespect to Pop. I mean, but it's like they're not going to want to go to Pop like after staying.
I always say go to Pop.
Probably not.
Yeah. Always do. Always do.
There's nothing wrong with Pop. I mean, like,
first.
we've all stayed there. We've all stayed everywhere. I mean, but it's just like they're not going to want to do that. I mean, you're going to want to go from like Saratoga to like Boardwalk or to Old Key West, or you don't want to stay within the DVC,
or Grand Floridian.
Or you stay at Grand Floridian.
The other thing
Wilderness Lodge,
The other thing you want to do maybe is if you have time to plan the purchase, start thinking about it. If you're going to buy direct, you may want to wait till they open up a new resort because they sometimes have sales, like bonus points for sales. So if they do open up a new resort that's exchangeable with the classic resorts, I would say it might be worth considering that resort for points because, to be fair, I mean, I think it is going to be always hard to get those concierge rooms or like the Kilimanjaro clubs and the value rooms at Animal Kingdom. But we have never had trouble getting an Animal Kingdom 1-bedroom Savannah.
There's so many rooms. It's pretty
right. Yeah, you've got Kidani, you got Jambo. So I wouldn't worry too much if you should buy where you want to stay, but I wouldn't worry too much about buying a new resort that has a 50-year contract because that is where I do think it makes sense to buy direct. If you are buying a resort with a 50-year contract, because you have the greatest sort of resale value on that, as long as it's exchangeable. Like that's with a lot of caveats, but yeah. So I think that's like where you could justify going direct. But if you're going to go resale, yeah, just start packing it away and think, you will not regret any of the points you buy. You will only regret that you did not buy more points when they were cheaper.
Hear that all the time.
Accurate.
That makes sense.
Next question.
Yes.
Next question. So like the safety net question, if for any reason, which I cannot find one single, if for any reason we wanted to sell, how difficult is it to get rid of it?
How fast you want to sell it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you'd have a problem.
And remember, Disney always has right of first refusal.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to this, but I in the research that I did read some questions about reselling internationally, like what they're responsible for. So you want to be really mindful of that and make sure that you've got all your I's dotted and your T's crossed. But there is no shortage of people wanting to buy resell.
Yeah, even during the pandemic, people are buying.
Yeah, absolutely.
But do keep two things. Keep in mind when you're looking at, if you're doing the resale market, and to me, making this into just a business decision is a dangerous thing to do. You're doing this for magic, so you got to balance it. But careful to go for the inexpensive one to buy when it's only got 25 years left on the contract. Then that will have less value. You use it for 10 years, it may be a little bit. Eventually, it'll be hard to sell, but right now it's not. I bought Saratoga the year they were building it in 2006, and I can sell my points right now for almost double what I paid.
That's
and if you weren't quite ready to sell, you could always consider renting until.
And I do that every year, pretty much.
I did read that there's something called an ITIN, which is like a tax identification number that international renters have to have. So you'd want to check into that, but you can rent your points, and that's a very lucrative option right now.
Right.
I know, I'm trying to rent them.
I know, right? My friends are all asking me, like, do you have points? Do you have points? And I'm like, I'm sorry, we're always in point set. Despite having almost 500 points at this point. Right.
How many trips I made?
So if the renting was soft, or you didn't feel like you were going to get out of it what you wanted, you could rent then to cover your dues and whatnot, and probably pay for another vacation somewhere, quite frankly.
Right. Or if you had a bad year, like if somebody lost their job or something or whatever, you can that year you could skip the vacation, or you could take the vacation because everything's already in the bank. So, but if you needed the cash more, you could rent.
Yeah, because it brings us exactly to the next question, that if for some reason we couldn't go or something, if it would be a good deal to just rent our points to our friends or whatever. And by what you tell me, it's a pretty good deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Although if you do it with friends, you have to negotiate price, which might be awkward.
Yes. He would probably go like, "Oh no, you're my friend. You don't have to pay anything."
Or you just bank them yourself and use them another year.
But if you needed cash and wanted to rent them, there are brokers that can handle that. Most brokers now, from what I read when I researched, are very well versed in international needs and laws. And what I've read is most of them pay out via Venmo or PayPal, which I found pretty interesting.
So I actually for the last 5 years, because for the last 8 years, because once I got into doing the travel thing, some years I don't use up all my points because I have other ways that I can travel and get a good deal because of being a travel agent. So I rent a lot, and I can tell you it's easy to do, though. But I'll give you a couple of caveats. Renting to your friends is fine if they're really, 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 really good friends. Then you can trust them. But I would avoid just renting on open podcast areas at forums. There's places where you can go and do it.
Use a broker.
I just go through the brokers. I tell them how many points. They send me an email, say, I've got this client, wants this many points for this resort. Can you book it? I say, yes, I book it. As soon as I book it and they get the thing, I get 70% upfront of the cost of the trip. Get the other 30% when they travel. And I've never waited longer than about 5 days to rent my points.
Yeah, that'd be the way to go.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Make it easy on yourselves.
Cruise if you want to take a Disney cruise.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I finally convinced her
advice,
she
Rebecca.
didn't want to do cruises.
Yes.
We're going to take a
The
Disney
way to
cruise,
do the
but
cruise, rent out all your points, then take that money and apply it to the cruise, and you'll come out even better. But hey, that's
actually what I meant, Brad. Was
oh
renting.
yeah, yeah.
but genuinely,
I am not new here. I know that rule.
but I will tell you, I literally just booked a Disney cruise, and what happens is you don't rent your points, you keep your points, and you just find more money to give to Disney. That's really how this works, guys. Let's be
You
honest.
sell a kidney, and you go.
Right.
That's where the magic really happens.
Okay. Next one. Well, I don't know if this is like a fair question to ask because it really depends on what we're looking for, but what could be the cheapest direct option?
Oh,
With direct option?
Direct.
Direct is
Buying direct from Disney, what would be like the cheapest option?
So I will say,
Cheapest or like the best value kind of option.
I will say this: if you guys are really serious, I mean, if you call up, if you want to buy from DVC, okay, they'll advertise Riviera, they'll advertise Alani because they're trying to get rid of that inventory. They do buy back contracts for RFR. There are contracts that are foreclosed on. Okay, because they're like real estate, transactions, right? They do have resorts that they don't advertise. So if you're sitting in front of your guide and you're like, "Well, my wife really wants Polynesian," they'll be like, "Well, how many points are you looking for?" And they'll pick up the little phone and they'll call and be like, "You can make it happen."
I know a guy.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
that might be an option. So, like for example, if you're looking at like Saratoga, like my beloved Saratoga Springs, it's probably one of the cheaper resorts. That in Old Key West, you could probably get a direct contract from DVC for Saratoga Springs.
This is important, Joe. I don't know if you've followed that much because I've kind of followed that quite a bit. Usually when Disney resells those back out, trust me, they're not even close to the price that you would get in the resale market. They're very expensive.
Oh no, I'm saying, but they're going to
sometimes higher than what's being sold right now.
But they're going to pay less than what they're going to pay for brand new points in Riviera. So that's what I'm saying.
But,
that's what I'm saying. Sometimes they're literally higher or well, that's true.
If you bought those Polynesian points, from Disney, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you still get the card? Do you still get the blue card?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So it's like buying a new property, but you're buying. So
you don't get the 50 years though. You just get whatever's on.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
But
I was going to say
that Disney perk of the card and those privileges. Oh, I don't think I knew that. That's interesting.
That is a little bit cheaper, but you'll get a shorter contract, but you will get the blue card. But if you're looking for a direct with the value, Rebecca nailed it. Watch when the new resorts come up, because in the beginning it's the same price, but they're adding value to it.
Yeah.
Careful when you use those extra points that they're going to give you, though. Don't make the mistake I made. I splurged the extra points, stayed in like a one bedroom, and then I've spent 20 years trying to talk my kids into a studio is just fine. Not going to.
There you go.
Right. But really you have to say what is your definition of less expensive, because when you break it out in a spreadsheet like some of us have done, really the best way to make it cheaper, that initial buy-in, is by buying more years. So wherever you buying the newest resort, that will get you the cheapest price per time period. You know what I mean? But you have to sort of also think, like, of course, there's the element of buy where you want to stay. But you also have to think, when you buy a longer contract, the good news is you can probably sell it very quickly. But when you buy a longer contract, you also are sort of committing to paying dues for that much longer. So you've got to also add in the dues. And I think I've said it before here, but like dues are 80 to 90% of the dollar amount you will spend over the life of your contract, assuming you keep it for the whole length of the contract. And so when we bought, we were very cognizant of the length of the contracts. So we didn't, even though we love Boardwalk, we didn't want to get Boardwalk because it was going to end sooner. And we were worried we wouldn't be able to sell it for as much if and when we wanted to sell it. So we ended up with Saratoga and Grand Floridian, which were very strategically staggered at 40 years length contract and 50 when we bought them. So it'll be cheaper for you long term if you buy the newest resort, believe it or not, compared to these resale prices.
Yes.
Okay. And
or even the new resale. Yeah, sorry.
matter of like a strategy, would it be the best idea to like, I don't know, buy direct from Disney and use that contract for, I don't know, 10 years, sell it, and then buy into another one, just so that you always have like a fresh contract with a lot of years still on it?
How old do you plan on getting, Ralph?
You guys 12?
I'm really excited because that's a good question. Like,
I mean, you said you're 2 and not planning on being more than 2. What?
So like basically, do you use the contract, sell it, and get whatever value, and then re-up with a brand new contract?
Exactly. And
I feel like that's too far ahead for me to think.
So I will say this, Rafael. I will say this. I had a friend of mine who owned Bay Lake Tower, and he bought it from Disney. The price, he had it for maybe like 5 or 6 years. The price went up. He really could care less about the blue card and the perks. He sold it, and then he bought like double the Saratoga points.
Right. Now
that because he doesn't care. He doesn't care about like, oh, I get a discount on annual passes or about like the magnets or whatever. He doesn't care. He's like, dude, I just doubled my points.
Yeah.
So that's what he did. So it's, it all depends. If he got lucky, he rolled the dice and he did good. So.
And here's the challenge. But think of it this way: you're making a real estate investment. You're buying at a certain price now. If you sell too early, you're simply not going to recoup the initial expenses, and the next ones, if you're buying direct again, they get higher every time they open up a new resort. I don't know if you've been paying attention.
Right.
I said I can get double for what I got before. Well, Saratoga's selling for cheap resale, so I got mine really cheap. So so I don't think that's a wise approach. Here's an interesting fact. Now, everybody here, Joe, I'm confident is gonna break this for sure. I know I have for sure. The average DVC owner owns their contract 7 to 8 years. Are you guys aware of that? Within 7 to 8 years, they'll move on and they'll move to something else. And the number is so tiny that actually, we haven't gotten there yet, but the ones that bought in the very initial time that still own the first ones is extremely small, because most people are just not going to stay in that long. You're going to love Disney, but the life will change and eventually you may look at it and go, I'll make some changes.
You'll be on the show.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
But Joe's right. That if you did it that way, and then you move to another type and you took that value, but the reason mine is worth so much more is because it's been 15 years. So it has, but my Animal Kingdom contract has not gotten to be a lot more than I paid for it, because it has been a much shorter contract. So you have to own it long enough for it to get increase in value to help make up for what the extra you're going to spend on the next one if you buy direct. That makes sense.
So I think we bought it in 2012, I want to say, and I just looked up the price. So I'm pretty sure we bought our Saratoga contract at $55.
You bought it after market though, right?
Resale? No, we got it resale. We got it resale, and it looks like the average price is around $110. So that holds true for me too. And we only bought it, like 8 years ago. But I would also say, if you can't, I don't know if it sounds like you're more inclined to buy direct. The other thing you could do is start with what you think you want point-wise resale. And then if you find you really want the direct, then you buy as much more as you need direct.
And match up the use here.
Right, because then you get the most value right up front to save money. And then you can sort of feel it out if you want more. Because direct will let you, if you buy from Disney, they'll let you match up the use year. They'll purchase a contract back for you that has the matching use year, or if it's a new resort, they'll just give you it.
And one thing to think about too, because I got to thinking about this, guys. They're from Mexico, so really the argument between do I want a blue card or not even becomes more, I think, more clear, because much of what you'll get out of the blue card one of the biggest things a lot of people talk about are all the special events, and those are things that you're not going to be able to just off the cuff go to.
Right.
So you're not going to get any of that. You're just going to get the discounts. And if you guys are going to be buying the dining plan, which I ran the numbers on it, and I could walk you through that. If you went and bought the resort, or then you use your points and then buy the dining plan with it, you're still like 50% the cost of what it would be you go to that resort if you're paying cash. So Blue Card.
Brad, you and I are kindred spirits. I think like I get you and you get me, and I like the numbers and everything makes sense to me, like number wise. Yeah. But yeah, actually the Blue Card, it's an issue because we won't get like the perks of the discount on annual passes, for example. Like those things really don't make sense for us.
Right.
Yes.
The magic hours.
Right.
You got to go when it's open. And I live too far away to take advantage of it. Joe, he's like, oh, it's 2 hours away. I'll go over there.
I'm going to try my best. And Brad, correct me, you can finance whether you buy direct or whether you buy resale. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
I saw that on your list, so I just wanted to make sure we covered that. You can
These Monera, they'll do a contract for resale.
I've heard good things about them.
You could also use like companies like
a big part of your puzzle. That's something that is not defined by either resale or direct.
Yeah.
Yeah, for financial, I've used Lightstream, which is a subsidiary of SunTrust / BB&T, and they probably will have no issue with giving you a loan for timeshare, even though you're from Mexico. They would probably will, I'm sure there's all kinds of agreements between banks. So as long as like you haven't established it with it, they're not going to care. So.
Yeah. As long as we pay, they don't know.
Right,
As long as you
exactly.
pay, they don't care.
All right, we need to wrap it up here pretty soon. Do you guys have any final question you'd like to ask?
Yeah, another very important one.
Okay.
We always like the idea of arriving to a freshened up room. So mousekeeping. I know that you get mousekeeping on DVC every 4 days.
Fourth day.
First of all, I love this question because it's been very value oriented. This is leading over into the Emily area of luxury.
Yes.
So I love that your thinking is already there.
It's just a matter of time before they're at the Grand Flow with me.
Exactly.
You can, correct me if I'm wrong, because I know as a renter we can do this. You can pay for extra service. Is that correct? Yes.
Yeah, we paid one running also.
Expensive?
Don't know.
I think it was 40 or 50. I think it was 40 or 50 last time we did it.
Recently. It's reasonable. I think if you had to do it every day, it could start to add up. But it seemed like it was like, well, it's been too long. I don't even want to guess.
A couple years ago,
Just be
it was 40
a
or 50.
good husband or be a good boyfriend and just make the bed.
That's all. He's like, I'm on vacation. Leave me alone.
I'm not gonna do bed.
You guys could each use sherry every other day,
There you go.
Trust me, you're not
I
in
will
that
say
room long enough to worry about it. So you're out playing.
I would say also.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say you may start settling in so much and feeling so at home, which is what happens to us. Like we feel we own that room while we're there. It doesn't feel like a hotel room. It feels like our apartment.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So
especially as you get
shift.
spoiled and start moving into the one bedroom as time goes by. And
Yep.
I'm getting ready to stay in a 2-bedroom at Old Key West, and it's like like 1,800 square feet, something like that.
They're
it's
huge.
Like,
they're so big.
A house.
Bigger than a Manhattan apartment.
Yeah.
Yes. They're
also,
so big.
just 2 quick answers. DVC members do not pay to park, because I saw that on your list.
Okay.
And the other one was, I think we could make this a circle thing, but rent a car or Lyft. I'm in the Lyft camp 100%.
Yep.
Unless you're going to, go ahead, Joe.
Unless you're going outside of the bubble for something like SeaWorld, Universal, craft beer, whatever. I am a big fan of the bubble.
I will say,
I'm a big fan of it.
I will say one thing. We're kind of just like checking off questions here. The one last question you had on your list here was resort experience versus DVC experience. I will say there are certain DVC resorts you will have similar experiences. For example, I think if you stay at the Poly, you'll have a very similar experience if you stayed at the Poly regular resort side. Boardwalk, Beach Club, but I think if you stay Animal Kingdom Lodge, but if you stay like Old Key West or Saratoga, those are DVC specifics. It's a different experience because the buildings are set apart. They're kind of designed to be like your home away from homes. So if you want like a resort to where you could walk to the lobby and get breakfast every morning and stuff like that, there are certain resorts that will cater more to that. Than certain other ones will. So that's kind of like a 50-50 answer to that question because it all depends on where you stay. I stay at Saratoga. Staying in a studio at Saratoga is way different than staying in a studio at Disney's Polynesian Villas. So that's going to be just whatever you decide to just where to stay at. So, but if you stay there, it's very similar. So,
and as far as distance, listen, I have stayed at the Mermaid Rooms at the Art of Animation, and they might as well be in, say, Augustine.
There you go.
Area code. So
distance, not necessarily the biggest issue, really.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, Rafael, Andrea, thanks for joining us on the show.
Thank you for having us, guys.
Are you going to keep us updated? Are you going to have us? Can we have you back on after you make a decision?
Yes, we are.
Oh, so exciting! Awesome. All right. Well, Rafael and Andrea, somebody wants to find you. Where can they find? Can they reach out to you somewhere?
Yeah.
They can find us. We're on the Facebook page. They can find
on Instagram. Maybe we can send us our ads on Instagram. So maybe we could chat in there. And if you have like some more recommendations that will help us, that would be amazing.
Excellent. I'm sure you get lots of help from our listeners out there.
Yes.
And if you need a bigger push later, just give us a call. We'll have you back on the show. Answer any other questions you got. How about that?
Perfect. That
would be amazing.
Awesome. Rebecca, where can somebody find you?
Mostly on Twitter because I'm addicted. Not as much as TikTok though, unfortunately.
Not yet.
Twitter at Tequila Becca or at Lubrication Live.
Excellent.
On Facebook.
Emily?
I'll be following Rebecca with 2 margaritas in my hand. And
that's in one
all
hand.
Of those places,
she's talented.
All of those places. And yes, and I never go there, but first comes WDW. I still have a couple of posts up there and yeah, I think that's it.
Excellent. The original Super Looper, Joe Quattrochi.
Well, first of all, Andrea and Rafael, great to meet you guys. Awesome that you guys came on the show and share your DVC buying experiences with us. It was a lot of fun tonight. So I want to say that. But you can find me also on Twitter, Instagram at Joe Quat. You can also find me over at the Mickey Dudes podcast and the Disney Dads podcast.
Awesome. And Brad, Mr. Brad Coates.
And I'm hanging out, same as these guys. Resort Loop Live, you're going to find us all hanging out there at times. I'm also involved with the My DVC Points podcast. That's another one if you want to get more information on DVCs. It's excellent.
Yes.
And I'm just going to throw it out. You know, anybody out there, but especially for Ralph and Andrea, you guys have questions you want to ask direct, just reach out, pappamouse101@hotmail.com.
Deal.
I think any of us reach out, all of us, man, just holler. If you haven't caught on, we like talking Disney.
We do.
It's like numbers. Learn to shut up. That's
the trick.
I'm Tim Scott, as Brad said. If you're out there, you're thinking about going DVC and you have some questions, contact us at the Roundtable, Tim at ResortLoop.com. We'd love to have you on, talk to you, meet you. We just met Ralph and Andrea. Had a great time. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You've been listening to The Gateway to the Magic. Take us out.
See it.
Adios, amigos.
I love it.
Can you say see you, everybody, in Spanish?
Sure.
Do it.
Hasta la próxima, amigos.
It's fantastic. Vacation memories will stay with you and your family for a lifetime. The Resort Loop Travel Group was created with this in mind. Our fee-free services will relieve you of the stress and confusion of finding and booking the best vacation at the best price. After booking, we will continue to monitor for ways to save you even more on your vacation. We will check for any upcoming packages and discounts to save you as many vacation dollars as possible. Resort Loop Travel Group, gateway to your magical vacation memories. Get a quote, or for more information, visit ResortLoopTravelGroup.com.